Hey sailors, welcome to the crew. I'm Sea Lord Janda, and this is my Let's Play of Rule the Waves 3 as the United States. It's August of 1953, and we are at war with Japan. We've just won the first major battle of the war, and successfully pretty much crippled the Japanese surface fleet, which, although we lost one of our most modern battleships, we still have 2 Vermonts and 5 Pennsylvanias. They're down to Kawachi and Awa, which are both pretty formidable ships, but nothing to terrify us, along with 2 Ikoma-class battle cruisers, which are powerful and fast, but not exceptionally armed. I mean, we can fight anything out of those. Their carrier force is really nothing to write home about, although I see they're building 4 60,000 ton plus carriers, but they won't be done for another 2 years, so we have a window where they're dependent mostly on these. Apparently the Shinanos were built in the jet era, but basically non-super carrier, mostly pre-jet designs. Now, they still have about 200, 300, almost 400 aircraft between them, but we have substantially more than that, especially with how many Yorktowns do we have building right now? 7? Yeah. Probably that'll be enough to do the trick. Additionally, as per some requests I had, I'm going to go ahead and rename these Raleigh Block 2s to, hopefully I've got these right, South Haven and Cedro Woolley, both of which are far too inconsequential to actually get a cruiser named after them, but congratulations. And with that, let me just check what the strategic situation is. Japan has some ships in the North Pacific, and oh, that's right, they're invading Kamchatka. We should do something about that, probably. Although the primary priority is to do something about the Liaotung Peninsula. Unfortunately, even though we won the battle in the Central Pacific, we took a bit of a beating. All the Vermonts will be down for at least a couple of months. There's no really imminent threats elsewhere, though, so I'm going to dispatch, I don't know, 2 Pennsylvania class out to the Pacific, along with, well, that's about it, really, but 2 Pennsylvania class out to the Central Pacific for now. And I don't want to give the Japanese free rein in the Central Pacific, but how am I so... I feel outnumbered. I guess it's their cruisers. We have a lot more capital ships, but they have a lot more cruisers. And in terms of carriers, we've sort of got 12 apiece. Mine are just much larger on average. I'm going to send another Pennsylvania and these 2 Enterprise-class carriers, along with a couple of spare destroyers. And a couple of spare cruisers up to the Northern Pacific just to deal with the threat up there. Better safe than sorry. So now... Not sure I trust this. Oh, they declined battle. Okay. Oh, this can't possibly... Really? I have 4 carriers in the area? I'm going to accept this battle on the basis that we can just flee into our port if it goes really poorly. But we might be hideously outgunned. However, I feel like we have to try to salvage a draw or something if we're to save the Liaotung Peninsula. Okay, all they've given us is 0 carriers, the heavy cruisers Northampton and Houston of the Charlotte class, and the light cruisers Charleston and Minneapolis of the Cincinnati class, which unfortunately means they're some of our older light cruisers, not the Raleighs, but yeah, go ahead with that. With any luck, you know, if they gave a somewhat equivalent number of Japanese cruisers, then we should still be fine. We'll find out one way or another. If they've got a bunch of carriers around, on the other hand, then we have a problem. We do have an airbase here. I don't actually know what's in it. Radar contact, dead ahead. That looks like a cruiser formation to me. Okay. Or at least, I don't know why I said cruiser formation, really, just because we have cruisers and that's what the game does, but looks like a Japanese task force to me, anyway. I doubt that's a BB, but it would be bad if it was. Let's, Oh, hell's bells, missiles incoming. Are we in missile firing range? We sure are. I really doubt that's a BB. But it's probably big at least, so let's open fire. I think missiles flying between destroyers are not too effective so far. So hopefully that helps give us a fighting chance. I need you guys to get... You are too much of our heavy firepower to be just a screen. You need to get into the line. Okay, I see 3 heavy cruisers over there, minimum. 8 8-inch guns. 12 10-inch guns. 11 10-inch guns. Well, the 10-inch gun ones are the scary ones. Tell you what, let's concentrate all of it on that, because it's sort of the most obvious. It's the biggest, and let's fire. With any luck, this could really cripple one of their more powerful units. Well, we got a couple hits in, at least. Not on the one I was really aiming for, but hits. Alright, the range is coming down very, very quickly right now. I don't see any light cruisers, so hopefully that means Charleston and Minneapolis are maybe enough to make up the gunnery difference. And so far, we are nailing them pretty well compared to what we're getting back. But boy, oh boy, is the range getting close. What is it? 8,000 yards, to be fair. It's just a little deceptive, but... Furitaka. Okay, the Furitaka is definitely hit bad, or she wouldn't be doing that. Do we have any missiles left? 2 of you do. Probably try to hit her again. Oh, you can't bear on her. Which 2 of you allegedly had missiles left? Oops, nope. Where are Fairfax and Williams? Oh, they're not with my main force, that's why. They're back. Where are they? Oh, well, Fairfax is kind of close, but the AI-controlled forces are kind of useless, so generally speaking, so. Okay, Furitaka has broken off. Kumano took at least one missile hit, but should be fine, really. But she's the lightest one with only 8-inch guns. Neiba is the one to worry about right now, and she's the biggest one. But I think, I mean, she's a 15,000-ton cruiser, although that's actually less than these. 12 9-inch guns versus 12 10-inch guns. Although 4-inch belt, 1.5-inch deck against 5-inch and 2.5-inch. On the other hand, the range is such that we penetrate a 5-inch belt out to 12,000 yards, and the range is like 6,000. How much armor do we penetrate at this range? 8 inches. Yeah. Literally no heavy cruiser has that much armor. So, penetration-wise, it's irrelevant. They'll do more damage, but we're getting way more hits right now, so I think we're winning this. Maybe a little maneuvering so we can try to avoid getting torpedoed. It would be bad to be torpedoed. Okay, yeah, Neiba is pretty much finished. Obviously, she's one of Japan's fanciest and newest heavy cruisers, so that's definitely a blow for them. I don't know if she's one of their newest or not, but she's certainly, she's pretty new. And she's very large and expensive. And that's a lot of torpedoes, so yeah. A couple of these, damn it. Well, she'll be alright. Probably. God damn it. Well, it's alright. We've taken out at least one of their destroyers, and Kumano there has just ground to a halt, which pretty much means she's as good as dead. I don't know if she's actually sinking yet, but she will be shortly. Enemy aircraft? Damn. I guess they do have air bases at Wei Highway and Chimulpo. How many aircraft do I have at, Why are there only, like... Okay, I need to check the status of this airbase. Are there not, like, aircraft here for some reason? Of course, we could just be... Maybe if there's a simulated air war, we're just losing it horribly, which is possible, but I don't think so. No. Just keep her in the division, and they'll be fine. Because the main threat is pretty much broken anyway. I would like to finish off... That's their last heavy cruiser up there, maybe. If we could catch her and finish her off, that would complete this with victory. More or less. Oh, that's Ericsson. Okay. And yes, I have read all the comments that the Ericssons don't have dual-purpose guns. Big fail on my part. Hasn't been a problem so far, though. We will refit them all to have them as soon as the war is over and we have the budget, but... For now, we'll just count on our carriers keeping air superiority for us, which in the opening battle they did, and in this battle there don't seem to be a whole lot of aircraft around, so... Although I've gotten 2 of those messages, but I have yet to actually see... Oh! 4 enemy bombers did just launch missiles at us. Ooh, Houston hit by 2 missiles. That hurt. She's on fire. But it's not exactly crippling either. That being said, some air support would be nice. Actually, at this point, though, to be fair, it's almost at the point already where dual-purpose guns are very questionable. Like, Well, yeah, the thing is, it's 1953. We're dealing with jet fighters that move 600 miles an hour. I suspect anything that's not a SAM is going to have increasing difficulty hitting stuff real fast. Okay, I'm guessing that that thing is dead, which would make 3 dead heavy cruisers, which is a pretty fantastic win. We're going to run for Dalney. Maybe one of my destroyers will see fit to torpedo her just to be safe on the way past. But, yeah. Houston, Northampton, Minneapolis, and Charlotte take a bow. Systematically just thoroughly outshot these 3 Japanese heavy cruisers, which 2 out of the 3 had 10-inch guns, let's not forget. But they didn't ever look like they stood a chance, really. What is Porter engaging? Oh. That's unfortunate. Maybe we should go back and help. Where's the light cruiser division? Oh, out of range. They'll probably just disengage, hopefully. Yeah, they are. Japan has over 90 cruisers. This will be 200 parts long if I systematically go after and try to kill all of them. I'm 90 destroyers, I mean, but yeah. Alright, everybody into base. Try not to get... Oof. Yeah, I do need to take a look at what's going on at our airbase at Port Arthur. If it doesn't have a full complement, we need to fix that for sure, but... I mean, I see recon aircraft around. I don't think they're all from our cruisers, although I could be wrong. In fact, there's a cap here, clearly, although it's not very large. Oops, Minneapolis, please. What? Oh, for God's sake. Oh, wait, where is she? Oh, she's stuck all the way back here? Okay, I guess she was not going to make it, huh? No, that's a shame. Although she's one of the older light cruisers, but still a shame. Didn't even realize that missile had done so much damage to her. Although I think she was lagging way behind even before that, maybe. Let's see the log. Yeah, I don't know. The missile made it worse, but I think most missiles don't really do flotation damage in 1953 yet, so I'm kind of guessing that it was just progressive flooding from the torpedo that really did her in. Unfortunately. Not my merchant. Wow, Israel. USS Israel's gonna survive, huh? Okay, well, despite the unfortunate late loss there, it's still a clear-cut victory. Our only complete loss is USS Charleston, which got a little bit plastered by those 10-inch guns early on in the battle, and then was hit by a torpedo to boot, and then a missile as well. I don't know if the missile is really what finished her off. I think this torpedo might have done her in the end anyway. But the missile did hit her in the engine room, which definitely made things worse. That'll hurt your ability to pump out water, too, I believe. Although I don't know how well that's reflected in the game. But anyway, in the end, she sank. We also lost a transport. In return, we apparently sank 3 destroyers, being Ikazuchi, Oshio, and Junagi, which were hit by a missile and a bunch of 6-inch and 5-inch shells, Oops, skip one. A bunch of 5-inch shells, mostly from our destroyers. And a whole bunch of 5-inch shells from destroyers, light cruisers, heavy cruisers, and a torpedo. And then, more importantly, we sank the heavy cruisers B, Tokiwa, and Tatashina. B here was hit by just, several hundred 5 and 6-inch and 9-inch shells, which all of our guns classify as medium that I think that were in this engagement pretty much. I don't even know what the light hits were. Oh, some of our ships have 4-inch secondaries, that's why. But, and 2 torpedoes, and yeah. And it's going to be much the same story for the others as well. They were pretty much plastered with heavy gunfire. Or, well, the 9-inch gunfire, practically speaking, is what's done all 3 of these in. Obviously, the torpedoes were a fine coup de grace, weren't even required for Tatashina, though. Mostly, it was the 9-inch gunfire from our heavy cruisers really ripped them apart. Okay, that's a pretty solid victory. That will certainly set Japan's plans to take the peninsula back. And heck, I mean, they got a lot more heavy cruisers than us, but only 20 total, so 3 of them lost, including 2 of the 10-inch gun types. Definitely is gonna hurt. Improved ship-to-ship communications. The Volti C, a bit faster, longer ranged, tougher. Okay. We're fighting valiantly. Wow, 2 submarines failed to return from patrol. Japan halted several carrier constructions due to financial difficulties. The absolutely horrifying thing right now is that I am more or less at my maximum shipbuilding capacity. 24,000 tons free. And 7 carriers with 102 jet aircraft each laid down. And we're still not spending enough money. Let's get bigger docks. Okay, we're about to finish a bunch more Ericssons. Oh, I guess those were needed to bring us up to 100. We didn't quite have 100 yet. Someone should probably get a refit with dual-purpose guns developed, but I'm not going to bother just yet. As for the Raleighs, we had... Remind me, what was even the difference between... Well, I think the Block 2s are just the 1953 rebuild, basically. What's the difference? Did they just not have... They not have the surface-to-surface missiles before? I think so. So anyway, those are effectively not in surface right now, which is part of why we have not really enough light cruisers around. But in just a couple of, well, a month, all of these will be in service. We'll have a bunch of surface-to-surface missile-equipped cruisers, which I think are probably the world's first missile cruisers. And yeah, Japan is not going to like that. They have 23 light cruisers, but I do think ours are better. They still have a lot more heavy cruiser tonnage, but that was... They only had 6 with 10-inch guns. They just lost 2 of them. They still got 2 more of the Neba class and 2 more of the Furitaka class. But that definitely hurt. And then that was a Kumano, too, so that's their most modern 8-inch class. All very modern heavy cruisers they just lost. Right, deployment-wise... Did the majority of our fleet... Oh, yes, okay. Most of our fleet that was in the Central Pacific has moved on into Northeast Asia. That's good. Although... They have a deplorable lack of escorts compared to the pile of Japanese light cruisers and destroyers there. Hopefully, once our Raleighs are finished, that'll help fix that. Carrier-wise, we're pretty even, though, and surface capital ship-wise, there's literally no contest. It's 2 battleships to 0 anything, currently. Okay, I do notice we only have 11 aircraft. Is Port Arthur really that underdeveloped? Oh. Well, it's supposed to have 40, which I guess I'd better expand in itself, but They're also substantially under strength, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm going to add a unit of jet attack aircraft. Night capable, even. It might be that there are simulated losses in these units that are in combat zones or something. I mean, obviously, they'd be in constant contact with the Japanese aircraft at Wei Highway and Chimulpo. It's possible to be sure. Okay, they are, well, they're not really dominating the Northern Pacific. We should repulse that pretty quickly. The Central Pacific, I don't know if these aircraft were in need of repairs or these ships needed repairs or I left them behind deliberately. I probably left them behind deliberately. Hopefully this is enough for us to push on the Marshall Islands. Just very quickly. If we could take the Marshall Islands, then the Central Pacific War is over. And then we can really focus on basically these 3 ports and drive them back into Japan proper. A lot of extra base capacity there too, which will really help us bring our strength to bear in full. Oh boy, an unexpected battle. And of course it's a cruiser action again. I mean, obviously we fared well in the last one, but I'd like to get our battleships in on the action as long as they're here. And it's twilight. Alright, well our radar is excellent. Okay, it's just USS Minneapolis, Galveston, and 4 destroyers. These are both Cincinnati-class light cruisers, 12 6-inch guns. Not, well, the finest that are, not even the finest that are in service. We do have some San Franciscos, which I believe are newer. But not our new Raleigh class either. But they'll do. They did well in the last fight. Radar contact. Dead ahead. Now, hopefully, probably, we do have better radar than Japan. I'm guessing we do, but it's hard to be sure, and that's a lot of ships over there. I count at least 8, which is 2 more than what we have, which is not good. And they are firing back, so our radar's not that much better than theirs. Oof. And does that say heavy guns? It does. Okay. That's bad. That's really bad. And there's also way more than 6 ships there. Fortunately, doesn't seem like they've managed to slow us down yet. So, 56 nautical miles to the Dalney. I don't know that we're going to make it there, but I don't think we have any better option than to try. It's fantastic how magically capable of sensing when we launch torpedoes they are. Although at least it held them off a little. Unfortunately, if we do get away, it's at the sacrifice of USS Conyngham back there. Nice, a torpedo hit. I really hope Galveston makes it back, but I can't necessarily afford to wait for her. Minneapolis didn't really take any hits yet, so I can at least try to help her out a little, but yeah, no, she's just going to be overrun. We'd better just try to get Minneapolis out while there's still a chance. Oh, look, daylight. Say, do we have... Huh. I did kind of neglect to fire all our missiles off. Why don't you all just fire at will, yeah? Well, maybe we can't fire those at night? I don't really see why that would be. Yeah, I see a heavy cruiser there. I bet there's more than one there. That's, yeah. A little unfair, really. I mean, it kind of reflects us not having as many cruisers as them in the area. But I would really argue we wouldn't be deploying a couple of cruisers on their own when it should be obvious with anyone with a couple of brain cells to rub together that our advantages are our battleships, our fast battleships, which are pretty much capable of keeping up with cruiser operations, and our carriers. Yeah, Ericsson is not going to get away either. But at least we saved Minneapolis. Jeez, look at them all. I see at least 2 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers. Maybe more cruisers than that still. Ericsson, what are you even doing? Get into port. If you want to live, get into port. I mean, I don't think you're going to live, but you can try. If you could still do 30 knots, you might have lived. As it is, it's looking so hot. Nope. Well, close. Oh, huh. Okay. Well, it's not as bad as one would have feared. Unfortunately, we do lose the destroyers Conyngham and Ericsson to respectively, several 8-inch shells and 6-inch shells mainly. And Ericsson to also a bunch of 6-inch and 5-inch shells. And we lost USS Galveston to just absolute battering by 8-inch and 6-inch shells and a couple of torpedoes. But we did sink the 10,000-ton light cruiser Yahagi, which is pretty much every bit a match for one of my Cincinnatis, if not even larger and heavier, with a single lucky torpedo hit from USS Ericsson, which managed to sink her scarcely 15 minutes later. Apparently, torpedo defense is something the Japanese have been skimping on a little. So they still win, but only by 2 destroyers, really. Ooh, tension with Germany is very high. I would really rather avoid a war with them. Okay. Not ready to make peace yet. Lockheed Lightning is ready. We have invaded the Marshall Islands. Oh boy, tensions with Germany are really high, and I am not sure why. Thanks for watching, sailors. I hope you enjoyed. New parts will be up every other day, or you can watch live on Twitch. If you did enjoy, consider leaving a like or subscribing. Have a nice day, sailors. This is Sea Lord Janda, signing off.